नमस्कार दोस्तों और जय हिंद। आप सभी को स्वागत है इन माय चैनल 1971 वॉर बुक सीरीज। इन दिस थर्ड एपिसोड ऑफ द पॉडकास्ट ऑफ लेफ्टिनेंट शाहरियर हुदा हम जानेंगे उनके एक्सटेंसिव कॉम्बैट ऑपरेशंस, जहां पे उन्होंने बहुत ही खतरनाक चीजें एक्सपीरियंस किए हैं इन द बैटलफील्ड्स अराउंड कोस्बा, including advancing up to Comilla city, taking part in the liberation of Comilla city alongside the Indian armed forces. आज हम जानेंगे उनके एक्सपीरियंसेस ऑल्सो आफ्टर द लिबरेशन ऑफ बांग्लादेश, जहां पे उन्होंने 9 ईस्ट बंगाल रेजिमेंट में कुछ टाइम स्पेंड किए इन एंटी स्मगलिंग ऑपरेशंस, इंक्लूडिंग डीलिंग विद द नक्सलाइट इंसर्जेंसी इनसाइड बांग्लादेश and later leaving the Bangladesh armed forces and going back to his academic life.
Now, just north of Kashba, there is a place called Chandrapur. Chandrapur. These are inside Bangladesh. These are up to Kashba, it's plain land. But if you move a little bit further north and also further south, the region becomes hilly, small hillocks. So Chandrapur, Battamara, these were hilly places. And Pakistani army had set up very strong posts on those hills. Now, remember the guerrilla war was going on while we were having battles with others. Guerrilla war was going on, and you see the commissioning of the first war corps changed the game altogether. It gave the Bangladeshi forces an offensive capacity. Until then, as I said, for 3 months, we didn't carry out any attacks as such. We were basically doing guerrilla war. As soon as the first war corps was commissioned and they joined the various units, sectors, subsectors, we started having offensive actions.
Right.
So, but at the same time, the guerrilla war was going on. The infiltration of our guerrillas safely into Bangladesh, to various urban centers, rural areas, to various bases were going on. And number 2 sector was a major contributor to the guerrilla war. It was the main, because the regions under number 2 sector were Dhaka, part of Mymensingh, Comilla, part of Sylhet, Noakhali. So it was a vast region, and Dhaka being such an important place for war, all the guerrillas going to Dhaka had to go through number 2 sector.
Right.
And as I mentioned, the place Mantali, all the guerrillas would come to Mantali. From Mantali, we would provide them safe escort into Bangladesh. And that route went very close to this Chandrapur. And from Chandrapur, the hilltops, these Pakistani soldiers would disturb us. They would fire at random, and sometimes the random fire would hit the boys, infiltrating.
Right.
So that had to be cleared. So it was decided. Also, by this time, I think the Indian government had taken the political decision to provide direct support to us. See, until then, until the 23rd October, I mentioned, until then we hadn't seen any direct Indian action. India would provide us some support, armaments, training, everything, but no fire support.
Okay. Not even artillery support, sir.
Until then, no. But I think by October, the political decision had been taken that ultimately they would start providing the direct support. So artillery support was started being given. And already the Joint Command was not formed yet, but it was unofficial Joint Command by then.
Right.
So it was decided that on 22nd November, all around Bangladesh, every sector, there will be coordinated action coordinated attack on the Pakistani bases in the border areas. For example, 9 Bengal would take action in Comilla sector. 4 Bengal would go for actions in the Noakhali district. They did some major actions and so on. 2nd Bengal in Sylhet. So 22nd November was, we were supposed to have coordinated action. Our job was to dislodge Pakistan army from those hilltops, Chandrapur,
Chandrapur.
so that the route for the guerrilla is absolutely clear and mass scale infiltration can take place. Now, what happened is it was supposed to be a joint operation.
Okay.
Indian troops will join us this time. So the political decision had already been taken.
Okay.
Now, 21st November was the Eid day.
Eid day. Right.
Ramadan had ended, and I think it was Eid. And you see, a lot of the soldiers, the ranks, ordinary soldiers in our units, 4, 9, and 10 East Bengal, were from Comilla side. They were originally from villages in Comilla. Koshba, there were some soldiers from the Koshba area. And for the Eid day, it was a mistake, of course, in hindsight. They were allowed to, our soldiers were allowed to, if they are from the neighboring villages, they were allowed to go and play with them, with their
Okay.
families and relatives. And some of them must have gone home and bragged to their families that we are going to liberate you guys. We have an operation coming up tomorrow.
Okay.
So there was an intelligence failure on our part. Pakistan already knew that we are going to operate. So they took up very strong defensive positions. When my CO, Major Ainuddin then, he got the news that there has been an intelligence failure on our part. So he postponed the operation. He said, no, we will not go on 22nd.
Okay.
Instead, we will defer the operation till the situation is, safe, reasonably safe for us. There's no more intelligence failure. Now, what happened is that the Indian brigadier, whose brigade we were attached to, you see, 9 East Bengal regiment, each Bengal regiment unit was being attached to an Indian brigade. So the brigadier was a very ambitious guy. He said, no, we will have an operation. So on 23rd November, he forced us to have an operation despite objection by my commanding officer, because he's a Bengali, he knows exactly what's going on. But the Indian unit involved with us was most probably 19 Punjab.
19 Punjab. Okay.
Most probably.
Punjab.
I may be wrong because it's long time back. I don't remember
No,
names
19
and
Punjab was a part of the 73 Mountain Brigade. It was in your area. I mean, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So 2 companies of 19 Punjab and 2 companies of 9 Bengal would together do the operation. A senior major, I think it was the second in command of the 19 Punjab, who joined us.
Okay.
And from our side, it was Lieutenant Adiz who was to lead from the Bengal Regiment troops. I volunteered because I wanted to be part of the battle, but my CO would not allow me because my CO was fearing the worst. He realized that there is an intelligence failure and the Pakistanis are fully prepared for the attack. Even if you defer the attack by 24 hours, it's still they're prepared. When I approached him, he said, I cannot afford to lose 2 officers. These were his words. I cannot afford to lose 2 officers in one operation. See, he apprehended that, it's going to be very bad operation. Then I told him, sir, my friend is a little shaky. I can feel that. So let me go instead of him. He said, no, you stay as a standby and we'll need you. Let Aziz lead the operation. So the operation was launched on 23rd November. We managed to dislodge the Pakistani troops from the hilltops. But what had happened, as I said, is because of the intelligence failure, the Pakistani artillery had already earmarked those hilltops their own positions, so that once they evacuate, once they fall back, they could shell their own positions with 100% accuracy. So once we, well, first of all, the operation was uphill. Pakistani soldiers were sitting on hilltops. All the machine guns were, you know,
Lined up there.
fired onto the paddy ground through which our soldiers were running or crawling or going uphill. So we had a lot of casualties just to dislodge the Pakistani. And once we occupied the hilltop positions, the shelling started because they had already earmarked those places, calibrated the
Guns.
artillery guns.
Right.
accordingly. So that was very accurate shelling. We had a lot of casualties. In fact, at the end, I think we lost around maybe 20 plus dead and 20, more than 20 died and maybe 40, 50 people injured.
45 wounded.
Similar numbers from 19 Punjab.
Okay.
And early in the morning, when we realized what is happening and we couldn't hold on to those positions for the time being, we had to withdraw. And then Lieutenant Harun, Captain Harun, and myself, we were ordered to go up to those hills and carry back all those who were wounded or dead.
Okay. That must
Our,
have been a very
you know,
gruesome sight and very difficult.
gruesome sight. Yes. The paddy fields were littered with dead bodies and wounded people. I had to personally carry some soldiers who had lost their arms, some who had lost their legs, blown up. It was also mined. You see, the hilltops, you have defensive positions mined. If you know that it's going to be active on a certain side, you mine that side with anti-personnel mines. So a lot of the soldiers had lost their feet stepping over those mines. It was we succeeded in dislodging the Pakistani troops, but in terms of casualties, it was a disaster. Later on, we got the information that the Indian brigadier was, after the war, he was demoted and dismissed from the service
Okay.
because he did not take into account the intelligence failure and he forced the people to carry out the operation.
Right.
I think that must be one of the major casualties on any Indian unit as well. 19 Punjab lost a lot of people, including the officers. The second in command
Twice
who
he
led
was
the
killed.
he was killed. We lost one officer, and Indian or allies also lost. So that was possibly the most disastrous military operation. Okay, after that, we were told to go to a place. Kashmir remained liberated. Okay, Lattamura, Chandrapur, Pakistan Army did not come back, but we also left it. By that time, it was, I think the High Command had already decided that they would go for more active intervention. So we were, 9 Bengal was suddenly told to withdraw and go towards a place called, go further south, towards a place called Bibi Bazar.
Bibi Bazaar. Okay.
Bibi Bazar. It's a part of Comilla. close to the border again. And we moved further south, and then on 3rd of December, as you know, Pakistan suddenly declared war, and then the Indian intervention became overt, not covert anymore.
Okay.
The Joint Command was officially formed, and as a part of the Joint Command, we were told to move and start holding a place called Suagaji. A place called Suagaji. It's on the Dhaka
Got you.
Chattogram Road.
Okay.
So 9 Bengal basically held on to Suagaji, and from there we were told to move gradually towards Comilla. So Pakistan Army units had started withdrawing from the border area because within the first 24 hours of 3rd December, they lost all the air power. The Air Force, Pakistani Air Force was destroyed by the Indian Air Force. So they didn't have any more air support. So they started withdrawing to the fortified places. So they started with, for example, from the various sides, they were either moving towards Comilla or in the south they're moving towards Chittagong,
Chittagong.
fighting on the way back. And we're also chasing them. From Suagaji, my unit, 9 Bengal, was chasing the Pakistani soldiers, and they're withdrawing bit by bit towards Comilla cantonment. By 8 December, we had liberated, with Indian help of course, liberated Comilla city. On 8th of December, we raised the flag, Bangladeshi flag on Comilla.
Okay.
Comilla city was liberated on 8th December, and then the High Command decided not to fight in Comilla anymore, bypass Comilla. So Indian troops with us, the Indian Brigade, Indian Div, actually moved, bypassed Comilla and wanted to move towards Dhaka.
Okay.
And the job of 9 Bengal, you see, have you ever been to Comilla?
No, I haven't been to that side of Bangladesh. Like, I've just
Okay.
been up to Dhaka, and yeah, just
Okay. In those days, Comilla town, now Comilla city, of course, big town, was separated from the cantonment by about 2 to 3 kilometers of rural land. And the Dhaka Chattogram highway went through Comilla city.
okay.
But the present highway bypasses the Comilla city at there are hilly places called Mainamati.
Mainamati. Okay.
And that's where the archaeological things are there. And Mainamati Hills are also the also the place where the Pakistan Army's garrison was, the cantonment was there.
Right. Right.
So the 9 Bengal's job was to surround the cantonment and make sure that these Pakistani troops cannot come out anymore.
Okay.
Where Pakistani troops were more or less concentrated inside the cantonment on the hills, and we were surrounding them, holding them there, while the Indian troops did not stay in Comilla, they just moved on, leaving behind, I think, just a token force. They were moving towards, the idea was to approach Dhaka as quickly as possible from all sides.
Right.
So
Right.
from the eastern side, the Comilla side, they moved. From Mamin Singh side also they moved. From the Assam, from the east also, from Jaipur and so on. So our job was to hold on to liberated Comilla and mop up, Pakistani forces, if there were any left anywhere.
Okay.
So after 8 December, the major battles were over. We had a few battles on the way to Comilla, but after liberating Comilla, the major battles were over. Small skirmishes would take place, and every now and then some Pakistani soldiers would come over and surrender to us.
Okay.
I was already based there.
Mm-hmm.
I so maybe a section, that means 10, 11 soldiers, a platoon, 30, 35 soldiers, they would come over and surrender. And we take them prisoners, and because we didn't have facilities, after initial interrogation, we would hand them over to the Indian forces.
Okay.
But we, being a part of the regular army, we had to treat them as POWs according to the convention.
Geneva Conventions.
We didn't want to. Sometimes we'd feel really bad because, villagers would report that some of these guys had been pillaging in the villages, raping women, and so on.
Right.
Being young people, we just feel like killing those bastards. But we couldn't do it. Our hands were tied by the convention. So we would offer them whatever facilities a prisoner of war has to do.
Right. And I think Pakistani soldiers felt it more comfortable to surrender to regular, what I can say, Bengal regiment troops compared to Mukti Bahini people, because they knew that
Oh
they
yeah,
would be saved.
definitely.
Yeah.
But they preferred to surrender to India rather than to Bengal regiments
That is
also.
also there, because Indian
They
army
are not
treated
100%.
them much better. That's what happened
Yeah,
in
because
history.
yeah, yeah. This is what they wanted. Then let's see. Yeah, we did have a few small skirmishes with the soldiers who were in the cantonment. Some of them would try to fight us. They had enough armaments, firepower, ammunitions left to continue resisting us for a long time. But their morality, they had completely lost their moral. They're totally deserted. In fact, by the time the 3rd December war, official war, Indo-Pak war started, they were already completely morally destroyed. They could not move freely around in Bangladesh. You see, road communications were cut, river communications were cut, railway communications were cut. They're totally demoralized. But they had enough strength to stay in their strongholds, fortified places. They could have stayed on. But I think the Indian strategy was very good. Bypassing the strongholds
Right.
without attacking the strongholds, trying to take over, uh, that saved casualties,
Right. That
and
reduces the number
also
of casualties.
yes, yes. Uh, by then we were pretty sure that we have won the war, but we were worried about intervention by China and USA,
Right.
because that's what Pakistanis were hoping for.
Mhm.
And on 15th of December, okay, my CO gave me the order that, you see, right now there is a bypass road, that the highway from Dhaka to Chittagong.
Chittagong.
It bypasses Comilla city, and it bypasses the Comilla cantonment, present cantonment. Uh, just where the bypass goes through, there is a bazaar and hilltops. The cantonment is on the hilly side, and the main highway and the bazaar is on the flat land. So I was told that Pakistani soldiers, having taken up position on those hilltops, they were being a nuisance on troops moving towards Dhaka. From our communication, our joint command communication between Comilla and Dhaka, that was being disrupted by soldiers sitting on the hilltops. They would fire up. So I was told that on 15th of December, take 2 companies, and on 16th of early morning of 16th December, carry out an attack to dislodge these Pakistani troops from those hilltops so that our road communication is safe.
Okay.
So 15th December at night, with two companies of soldiers, I am there waiting for the early morning breakout of the day and receive the command that attack. Okay. Fortunately, just before the attacking time, received the word that Pakistan army is most probably going to surrender in Dhaka. So the operation is cancelled. You don't have to do this. That was the last bit of good luck for me. You know, in fact, all the soldiers also with me, because we all felt that at the fag end of the war, this operation might end up in a lot of us being dead. Because you're going to attack a position uphill. That's always more dangerous for the attacking force than for the
There is
defense.
always advantages for the enemy as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
The people in the defense have an advantage there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the last, you know, potential danger for me. And once the next day was 16 December, and the Pakistan army decided to surrender.
Right.
So that's the end of war as far as I am concerned. And I wanted to get back to civilian life.
So you
And
didn't join the Bangladesh army, sir? You were a
no,
second.
no, I did.
So
Second lieutenant, I became a lieutenant.
lieutenant.
After a month or so, we were garrisoned in Comilla. Then in January there was an incident in Mirpur in Dhaka. You see, Mirpur is the place where Rogers were settled. Mirpur was a major.
That place
He had been there. Okay. So in Mirpur, the Biharis had a very stronghold. Lot of hooligans used to live there. Lot of Pakistani soldiers also, who did not surrender, possibly took shelter there. So towards the end of January, Second Bengal Regiment, which was in Dhaka, was in charge of Mirpur, had sent some soldiers in there. Two of my friends, officers, were also there. There's a Lieutenant Salim, Lieutenant Jamil.
Your coursemate, I guess.
They are my course mates, along with some other officers.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Mirpur in search of Johir Rahan's elder brother, who was also a very well-known intellectual.
Right.
Shahidullah Kaiser.
Right.
So it was rumored that Shahidullah Kaiser had been killed by the Bihari Gundas there, and his dead body was hidden there. So Johir Rahan, with the help of a police contingent and the Second Bengal Regiment soldiers, some officers and some soldiers, went in there in search of his brother. And they were ambushed and massacred. My coursemate, Lieutenant Salim, died, several soldiers died, and Johir Rahan also died. And their dead bodies disappeared. See, Second Bengal got a lot of casualties, they had to withdraw. And as soon as this happened, 9 Bengal was immediately ordered to move to Dhaka. So we moved to Dhaka and we took a position in Mirpur. So I was still in the army for another 10 months.
Okay.
So
you took part in that
I
operation?
did.
Okay.
No, I took part in the operation. The further pacification of Mirpur. Mirpur was divided. By this time, we had almost a brigade of Bengal regiment in Dhaka. So Mirpur is divided into several subsectors, and 9 Bengal was given in charge of the most notorious part of Mirpur. Mirpur section 11, 10, and 12. So I was in Mirpur for almost 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
and we used to stay in the MP hostel in the second capital, the parliament, because that was not operating. We just stayed there. Then also we stayed in the Dhaka camp. We had a we were provided accommodation there. Then 3 months later, again there was an order that we have to move to Jessore. 9 Bengal has been posted to Jessore. By this time, Mirpur was pacified.
Okay.
We went to Jessore. We settled down to regular military life, regular, you know, you do the PT, parade, drills, and all those regular stuff. A bit of firing exercise, then go on winter exercise, those kind of stuff. Have games, everything. Then again, 9 Bengal is ordered to move to Sundarban.
Okay.
By this time, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Bangabandhu is back, and he was giving this order. The reason is that Sundarban had lot of Naxalites.
Right, right.
A lot of Naxalites had taken shelter in Sundarban. They had lot of hidden arms catches, arms, and they're disrupting life around Sundarban.
And this
Lot
was
of dacoities.
Siraj Sikdar, I guess, or somebody else.
Uh, yeah, Shiraj Sikdar's people were also there. Jashore, basically Jashore. Yes.
Okay, okay.
So we were given one naval gunboat to help us, and we requisitioned several steamboats launches, and we moved into. There is a place called Bagherhat in
Bagherhat.
Khulna,
Okay.
the
I've been to
southern
that
side of
place as well. Bagherat, Khulna.
just after Bagherhat, you start having the Sundarban. So
Right.
our battalion headquarters was in Bagherhat, and all the companies were moved further south. I was in a place called Moralganj. There's a Pune called Moralganj. It's inside Super,
Okay.
periphery of Super. So I was stationed there, and every now and then I would go with these boats into the Sundarban, looking for these miscreants, looking for arms depots, and so on. Also, we were given charge of anti-smuggling operations along the border areas. Because in those days, a lot of smuggling was taking place. I started submitting my first resignation letter the day we liberated Comilla, but it was never accepted.
Okay.
I submitted my second resignation letter in Dhaka.
So
The-
by now you were a captain, sir, or lieutenant?
If I had continued service one more month, I would have been a captain.
Okay.
My resignation was accepted at the end of 1972.
Okay.
By that time, I was very desperate to leave the army because I was losing time. My academic
You
life.
get back to civilian life, right, sir?
Basically, yes. Yes.
And
See,
then
plus my parents were already in UK at that time.
Okay.
My parents were in London, so I wanted to leave the army, join my family.
Right, sir. Okay. And after that, you became a student back again, or
I became a student back, but by this time in Dhaka University,
okay,
my contemporaries who had attended classes regularly, who had been fine. I did not. I had missed those classes. I was in Liberation Ward and another year in service. So I realized that I would not get a good degree. I was in the economics department, which was highly competitive, the most competitive. So, and also because my parents were already in UK, they arranged for my tickets, visa, everything. So I decided to leave. I went to England. I did my A levels again because of the delay, the intermediate, the higher secondary was no longer recognized by top British universities.
okay,
I could get into a grade university, but I wanted to get into a top one. So I did my A levels in next 6 months. Then I got into a place known as Imperial College. It's one of the Imperial. It is, I think, after Oxford and Cambridge, Imperial is considered the third top institution.
In the UK, yeah.
And world ranking, it's always within the first 10, along with Cambridge and Oxford. So it was the top place, and I managed to get in there. I got my bachelor's, master's, and PhD all from the same department there. And then I came to India. Would you believe it? See, during the Liberation War, I did not have the opportunity to explore India. So I thought I'll spend some years in India and visit places I wanted to do. So I came to Indian Statistical Institute.
Okay.
I wrote to the director, John Babu, J.K. Ghosh. So I used to live in the campus, in the guest house. I had a 2-room sort of small apartment like, without the cooking facilities. I used to eat in the guest house downstairs and live upstairs. So I spent 2 years at Indian Statistical Institute as a faculty in the Stat Math division, the code division.
Okay.
2 of my best years of my life. I made some very good friends. I enjoyed the cultural life of Calcutta. The winter, every winter, almost every night I attend those open air concerts, classical concerts.
Right. Those things used to happen back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have
After which I went,
mostly of all your life.
yeah, also, yes. And I continued going back to India until recent years. Now I still have very good friends, colleagues, with whom I still do research.
Have you been
Some
invited
of my
to the
students.
Eastern Command, like as a Mukti Bahini delegation?
There was one invitation a couple of years back, in which some of my friends went. Some went last year also. But because I haven't lived in Dhaka, I'm not. Maybe when I retire, I will attend one of those. The Eastern Command, I think, every year invites a few people. And normally, my friend Motin Chaudhary coordinates this from Bangladesh side. In fact, there was I think 2 times their invitation to Murthy.
Right.
The command had asked, yes,
Right.
visits by these first war course officers and their families to Murthy.
Right.
I think there have been 2 such trips, but because I am abroad, I have never been able to
Okay.
take part.
It has been a career mostly starting from the military, fighting for your own country, and then shifting back to academics.
Yeah.
That is what I can say is very different, but again exceptional
Very
compared to most of the
Yeah.
people who joined Murthy.
Now, I think just 3 of us left the army on our own will. Sheikh Kamal was another, because his father was the prime minister, so he could leave army immediately after liberation. In my case, again, I had to. I could not resign through the proper channel. I had to go up to General Osmani. Even General Osmani would not allow me to leave the army, so I had to go up to Sheikh Mujib and tell him that, sir, I went with my aunt and I told him that, sir, you have allowed your son to get back to civilian life. Why isn't the army allowing me to? I want to get back to my studies.
Right.
That's how I got released. There was another guy, again, his sector commander was considered. There was a Lieutenant Colonel Nuruz Zaman, who commanded North Bengal. I think that's number 11 sector, or 9 sector, I'm not sure. The sector number I'm not sure, but Lieutenant Colonel Nuruz Zaman, who commanded that sector. And in that sector, there were some of my friends. One of them was Lieutenant Kaisar Hawk.
Kaisar Hawk. Okay.
Kaisar, yeah, he got the release. Kaisar, Kamal, and myself. We are the three people who resigned commission voluntarily. Kaisar is in academic. Kaisar left the army. He he was in the English department, so he pursued his studies. He became a professor of English. He is a very well-known author, a poet, and a researcher, English literature.
Okay.
And there's another person. I'll just mention his name. There's the Major
Qayyum.
Qayyum Khan.
He was
Major Qayyum Khan.
he was with Captain
He
Jahangir, I guess. Mohiuddin Jahangir.
he's a he was with Captain Mohiuddin Jahangir. Yes, served under him, and so actually when Jahangir died, Qayyum was there. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Anything else right now?
No, it has
But
been
feel
a
free
wonderful
to-
experience talking to you, sir.
Well, same here. Thank you for interviewing me.